everyone. Welcome to P.B.M. Vending. Well, this video is going to be about a couple of things, but we're gonna call it Gumball.com. And if you aren't familiar with them, they are an online company where I have been buying my bulk candy machines. And my experiences up through the last couple of times have been great. They were consistent. There was a couple things I didn't like about them. And the first one I want to talk about was the first time I ordered from them. I bought a triple head and a single head. Now I ordered the triple head on Thursday and it was at my door Friday afternoon. The same time I ordered the single head, it was about 3.5 to 4 weeks before I got the machine. And I actually called my credit card company and had them do an investigation to make sure it was a legit company, and they assured me they were. So that irritated me. And one of the things I noticed is the triple head machine was shipped from a warehouse in Chicago, which is the same state I live in, and the single head was shipped from Utah, which was odd. Another thing that was different was the discounts. After I bought a couple of machines, I asked for discounts. And they said, okay, it looks like you're going to be consistent, so we're going to give you 10% discount on each machine that you buy. I said, okay, great. So I ordered a couple times. Each time they gave me the discount. Starting a few times ago, I had one girl tell me, yeah, you don't qualify for discounts. Buying the same amount of machines, but there was no discount. And, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. Again, starting, and I say a couple times ago, I mean like 3 or 4 months ago, about the time of the shutdown, the pandemic shutdown. There was some obvious changes. Like every time I called, I would get a different voice on the phone. Now, I've put together in my mind that they are a legit company, but it's kind of run from just like a single office, maybe 1 or 2 people. And then they drop ship the machines, which is fine. I don't really care how it functions. My point is, if there's 1 or 2 people in the office, and I was calling, I probably called 4 different times. Each time I got 4 different people. And I'm thinking, that's kind of odd. And each time that I called, I got different quotes on different prices and different machines. So the last time I called, I had to ask a ton of questions just to narrow down the type of machine that I wanted. And then I had to go through, because I wanted a special order, and so I had to go through each time, and every time it was like I was getting an objection from the person on the phone, who happened to be a female, by the way. And she kept upcharging me on things that I knew were not accurate. Like, I wanted a different coin mech, which I know there's an upcharge, but I think it was $15 or $20 last time. Now it was $25. And we'll get into that, by the way. And then when I was choosing the machine type and I was asking all the questions, I would ask, well, tell me about this one, and what size is it, and what's the shape of the thing? Is it square, circle? I mean, and I had to go through all of that. And it was like pulling teeth, and then when I wanted a special order, I was getting objections. So, now this time I ordered 1 machine, and nothing has changed. It's all the same. My address, the type of machine that I ordered from the last time was the same special order. Nothing's changed. So I waited And 3 weeks later, I started a series of phone calls. First day I called, I said, yeah, I'm just calling to check on my order, see where it's at. Now, mind you, it's been 3 weeks. And this time it was a guy on the phone, and he said, let me call the warehouse and I'll get back to you. And I said, okay. And I waited. So then I called the next day. He never returned my call, by the way. The next day, he said, oh, the warehouse never got back to me. Let me check and I'll call you back. And I said, oh, wait a minute. I want to make sure that I understand you. Unless the world ends by today, the end of today, you will have an answer one way or another, good or bad, right or wrong, and you will contact me. Am I hearing you right? And he said, yes. I said, okay. And I waited. So the next day, I called. 3 different times, nobody ever picked up the phone. No answering machine, no nothing. The next day, I called all day, every hour. Nobody picked up the phone. No answering machine, no call back, no nothing. So then I contacted my credit card company, and I wasn't thinking anything nefarious. I was thinking, well, they've gone out of business, the pandemic got to them, and now all I want is just to get my money back. So I contacted the credit card company. They opened a case and put a credit on my account, and I was fine. And a couple of days later, the machine shows up on my doorstep. And I remember saying out loud, really? I have to threaten you to get my machine? And I thought, well, I better call the credit card company and tell them. And I thought, no, wait a minute. I want to get the machine. I want to check it out. Make sure they ship me a working, functional machine. So I open it up. Now, I told you we were going to get to the coin mech when I get here. I've never seen a coin mech like this before. The ones that I had before, you put 2 quarters in the top at the same time and you turn the crank, okay? This one, you put a quarter in this side and a quarter in this side at angles, and then you turn. Well, needless to say, when I put it together, the coin mech didn't work. And I had to fool with it, and I got it to work, but it's still not smooth. The other thing I noticed is the case that holds the candy was a really flimsy plastic. And when they assembled it in the warehouse, I had a drawer that you could open when you get to the money. And it's supposed to be in the back of the machine. They had it sitting the other way in the front of the machine, which is no big deal, except it makes a difference when you are putting the machine together. So anyway, I feel like I kind of got a thrown together thing out of bits and pieces, and I had to threaten them. Now, I want to compare and contrast. So I went online and I did some looking, and I found another company, and this one was called candymachines.com. And I ordered it, and the first odd thing I noticed was, and I thought this was very cool, they sent me an email with a video in it that said, your item will be shipped in 1 to 2 days, and here's a video on how to put it together, blah, blah, blah. Very cool. So I waited. I kept expecting, it'd take a week. Well, it's now been almost 2 weeks. Now, just 2 days ago, they sent me an email that said, your machine has shipped. I was like, almost 2 weeks ago, you shipped me an email saying it was going to ship in 1 to 2 days. What have you been doing for the last week and a half? But anyway, now as I look back on it, I don't mean to trash Gumball.com. I think what has happened is they were caught in the pandemic and they're feeling the heat. They're getting new people in the office, trying to keep people there because they want to get their free stimulus. I get it. Delivery on the parts to put it together is tough to get. I'm in business and I understand that getting inventory in is just hard to get. It's touched every part of the supply chain, and the warehouse. Maybe they had to shut down because somebody in there got COVID. Who knows? And I'm perfectly willing to allow. But the problem is this. I feel like the difference between an average company and a really good company is a really good company will communicate with you. If when I called that first time, if the guy had said, yeah, I know, we're having problems in our supply chain, we'll get it out to you as soon as we can. It may be a couple of weeks. Please bear with us. We're just trying to deal with the pandemic like everybody else. And I would have given them a full month with no problem. But they didn't do that. They tried to pretend like everything was normal, and it's not. And that's the problem that I have. And I've noticed the same thing with candymachines.com. So I guess my point is I am going to go somewhere else, assuming that the machine that I get is acceptable. I don't know yet. But I've also made a vow that I'm not buying any more machines as long as this pandemic is going, and I'm probably not going to place any for a while. I just need to take a break, save my money, get my stuff together, consolidate maybe a little bit. I'm just going to force that on myself. That way I don't have to put pressure on them. I'm not putting pressure on me. I'm taking a little time, and I want to save some money. But I guess the overall message from this machine, or from this experience for me, is I really went through a lot of issues with Gumball.com, and I'm probably not going to go back because of the way they handle their business. But my message to you is be patient. Business is not as normal out there as everybody's trying to make it feel like it is. The supply chain is being strangled. And I think that's on purpose, so we'll see what happens after November. So just be patient. And one piece of advice I do have for you. If you find anything that you like during this pandemic, from liquor to food to supplies to inventory, stock up. If you find it, stock up. Because it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. Well, that's about all I wanted to say. You make your own decisions on Gumball.com, victim or not. Well, you guys have a great week, and happy vending.